My biological dad was not really around so much. We always had to work super hard for money. I started a clothing brand that failed. I started reselling sneakers that failed. Hosted like a sneaker convention. Lost all my money doing that. Failed business, failed business, failed business. Started another e-commerce business. Ran up $10,000 in cash in 20 days. And what I did was,
start off by introducing yourself as if someone else were introducing you.
they would probably say, Jordan's a YouTuber. Jordan's a businessman. Jordan looks out for his family. He's just somebody that is trying to make it in life, you know?
I think I saw a picture where you got your mom a house, you got your sister a car. Like, how did that feel? And you're young, right? What are you?
I'm 26.
You're 26, bro. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, how did that feel, like, to do that for them?
Yeah, the first crazy thing that I did was getting my mom a truck. I did that like 4 years ago. And that was one of the most accomplished moments I ever felt in my life, because the truck wasn't super expensive, but it was a huge win for her because it was her dream truck. And that was really like one of the first big things that I spent bread on that I actually felt good about.
22 years old, getting your mom a car is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. And she still has that truck to this day. And then, I got my sister the car, and then I just bought my mom a house this year. That was a big one for sure.
How did you grow up? Like, was it humble beginnings? Did you how did that like situation look growing up?
Yeah, so it was really like me, my mom, and my stepdad. My biological dad was not really around so much. So my sister's dad, he actually came in and kind of raised me with my mom, but also he was in and out as well. So mainly it was me and my mom and my sister. And my mom was kind of working as much as she could to take care of the both of us. And yeah, man, we didn't really have it super easy. My mom always did everything she could to take care of us, but we didn't really have that much money like that. And money was always tight. We always had to work super hard for money. There wasn't a lot of like nice vacations or weekends. In fact, I never even like took a flight or did any of that until I was like 17, 18 years old, you know? So it was very much normal, basic life.
Did that put a chip on your shoulder? Is that part of why you feel you're successful?
Yeah, definitely, because we actually got our first house when I was like 7 years old from the government. It was like a program called Habitat for Humanity. And what happened was, after around a year, there was a situation that happened with my mom where we had to give up the house. We had to actually lose that house. The program helps you get into the house, but you still got to make payments on it. But my mom had a situation in which she couldn't keep making the payments. So we actually lost our house. And then I had to go move in with my stepdad like 2-3 hours away. So I was literally growing up with my mom, and then I had to move away and like go away from her as a little kid. And I look back and I say, okay, maybe that's one of the things that made me want to be successful, because I saw this woman who was working her ass off trying to become something, and still she lost her house. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to like do something different with my life, you know?
Damn, good for you, dude. That's crazy, because you know, I think sometimes I was complaining right before this podcast actually, and it's funny when you hear something like that and you compare it to your situation, it really puts things in perspective. I don't think that's easy to do. So you've had quite a few businesses. I want to go through a few of them, especially for the viewers. I think it's important when they can like see how someone started and then grew it to like what you did. So what was the very first business you started? How old were you when you did it?
I did a bunch of little side hustles and stuff when I was a kid. Like, I started first making money on the internet from editing videos, editing Call of Duty videos for people, because I always used to like making vlogs and stuff with my friends when I was like 12, 11 years old. But I found out people were making money editing these gaming videos. So I started doing that, and I was making like $20 a week. It was nothing, but it was money from the internet without getting a job. And it lit a spark in my head to say, yo, like, I'm going to try to figure out some other ways to get money. And I even made a promise to my mom. I was like, yo, mom, I'm not even going to get a job. Like, I'm just going to try to figure out how to make money from the internet. And she supported me, but she didn't understand what I was trying to do. So she was kind of like, all right, like whatever. So literally from the age of like 12 to 18, I was hustling and like trying so many different businesses. I started a clothing brand that failed. I started reselling sneakers that failed. I hosted like a sneaker convention that kind of did good. I had like a couple hundred people show up, and the local news was there filming me and stuff, and I felt like a success, but then I lost all my money doing that. It wasn't profitable. I started like an app development company, like all throughout high school, just failed business, failed business, failed business. It wasn't until after high school that I started my first business that made some money, and that was a drop shipping store, like an e-commerce business.
What got you into that at such a young age? Because when I think of growing up, I pretty much have I have four sisters, two brothers. my dad was really into sports. And so I felt that most of the influence I had pushed me into sports because my dad was into sports. What influenced you to get into that specifically? Was there anything or anyone or something you saw, or you seem like you're very creative?
Yeah, I was definitely creative. I sucked at sports. I tried to play sports, bro. I played basketball. I sucked. In a whole season, I scored 1 point, and it was from a free throw. And then I played baseball, and they used to put me in right field and then left bench. So I didn't play any good sports at all. So sports wasn't for me. I'm like not that tall now, and I just grew to this height when I was like 18. So in high school, I was even shorter. Sports wasn't for me. My brother was good at sports. I wasn't good at sports. And then I was good at the games, though. I used to play video games a lot, and I felt really good at making videos because I had been doing that for a long time. So those two things made me feel like I had value, whereas sports, I had no value. So I just leaned into those things, man. Like, and creatives work has always been something I liked. Like, I even, grew up playing music, like playing the drums and playing other percussion instruments. So the arts and that type of stuff always called to me, but I knew that art without business would be a mistake. So I tried to learn about business as well because it was super exciting to me. And business really seemed like my only way out because I didn't think I could be a successful musician or anything like that,
Did anyone make fun of you as you were growing up and doing those things? Like, I don't know how it was perceived, but did people think like, oh, he's editing videos, he's doing that? Did it seem weird to people, or did they not care? I don't know.
Hell yeah. Like, I remember I had a channel, right, on YouTube. It's gone. It's dead forever, which is one of my only regrets in life. It was called I'm Just a Kid TV. And that was where all my first like videos I ever made was my vlogs, my skits, my comedy, everything. And I had like maybe like 50, 100 videos on there. And I remember one day some kid, he was a friend of mine, he found my channel, and we had like a little group chat on Skype back in the day, and he put the channel in the group chat because I was keeping it a secret. Like, I was just doing this just because I wanted to do it, but I wasn't like going to school telling people to check it out. But then somebody found it, and then they were like bullying me for it and stuff like that. And it really hurt me as a kid, so much so that instead of unlisting the videos or privating the videos, I just deleted the whole channel. And that's what made me go to do the gaming videos because I didn't have to put my face on them. Yeah.
Kids are ruthless, man.
Ruthless, bro.
I feel like, do you feel like getting bullied as a kid helped push you though? Because I look back and I got bullied pretty bad as a young kid, but I think that got me into sports. And what was interesting is as I got into sports, I started lifting weights, and then I started getting compliments, and it kind of reinforced to me that, okay, so if I get bigger and stronger and I'm better at stuff than them, then when they talk shit to me, I can just be like, yeah, but like look at what I'm doing. Like, did that seem to help you and like push you?
Yeah, for sure. Cause I had friends, but I never really felt like I fit in. Like, I would be like friends with a bunch of different groups of people, but I didn't feel like I had my own group, and I didn't really feel like any group. I wasn't good at sports. I wasn't the best at music. There were no other business people in my school. So I was never really like popular. Nobody really knew me in school. So like I used to get picked on all the time, and I think it definitely helped me for sure.
So you had that e-commerce store. How old were you? You said you were 20. Was it 18 or 20?
18, because I finished high school and then I went to college because I was broke. I was like the broke businessman, and my mom was like over it. She's like, look, like you tried it, it failed. Like, just go to college. You got to think for a mom, like it makes her look bad. Like, this is my baby here, and he's just sitting on the couch all day, like, and she don't see the vision. So I'm like, all right, to make my mama proud, I'm gonna go to college. I went to college for a year, grinded it out, got straight A's, realized it was the biggest waste of time I ever did in my life. And I got like some money back from my student loans, and I used that to start learning how to do Facebook ads. And that's what I used to start my first dropshipping store.
So the dropshipping store does pretty well. What do you transition into after that?
Yeah, so I made like a couple $100,000 from this business, and then myself, who made a huge mistake, decides to start spending all that money and balling out. So I was living in a cool little apartment with my friends, spending like $400 a month, and then I moved to Los Angeles, and I started spending like $3,000 a month on a condo by myself. And now I'm in LA, and I've never been over there, so I'm falling into lifestyle creep, getting a new car. I'm going out shopping. I'm meeting these new young rich kids, and we're going partying and just doing dumb stuff, bro. And like pretty quickly I started to not only see my business suffer, but then I just started like losing all my money. And then tax bill came around. Everything went from being like this to like this. Instead of keep building, when I first made some money, I went and spent all of it.
Yeah, that first tax bill I got when I started making some real money, I was like, oh, so you can't write off these cars and you can't write off this house. And
Yeah.
that was a rude awakening. So let's stop real quick on the drop shipping before we keep going. For someone who's trying to get into drop shipping, I know you've moved on to other stuff now, but a lot of kids or a lot of people who are listening, I think that's where they like to start because maybe they don't want to be on sales calls or they don't want to be on camera and stuff like that. So if someone was trying to get into drop shipping, what are maybe like the first couple steps they have to do to get into it, or where could they learn how to get into it?
To succeed in drop shipping, you have to know three things. You have to know how to make a great website and write good copy to get people to want to buy something. You have to know how to follow trends and find the products that people actually want. And then you have to know how to create ads that convert and get people to buy. All three of these skills are unique in their own, and it takes time to learn those things. But if you can learn these three things, you can build a successful dropshipping store. And to me, I still think that this is one of the best business models for beginners, because even though it requires money up front, once it starts to work, it's hard to compare it to some of these other business models, because I've done a lot of coaching. I've had a bunch of other businesses, but when you have a product that's succeeding and when you have an ad that is consistently bringing you customers every single day that's profitable, it almost feels like it's automated. Minus the fact you have to fulfill the orders and handle your customers. It is truly one of the best businesses ever. And then when you scale it, it's just a matter of cranking the dial up on your ads.
So what should the profit margins be? And then what's maybe the best price point for something to sell?
It depends on the product, but I always try to find products where I can make at least $20 per sale. The product that I made the most money in my life, it was called the Sleep Band. So I created these headphones for sleeping. It was like a sleep mask with like really
You
thin.
created it.
Well, I started with drop shipping, but then I worked with the supplier in China over the course of 2 years, and we modified the product like 20 plus times, changing everything, the fabrics, the speakers, the packaging, and then we did have our own custom product by the end. But this product, it was selling for $44.99, and it cost me like $12 to make it. So that means that I could afford over $30 to get a new customer coming in. And that allowed me to spend more aggressively on ads than anybody else. Whereas a lot of these kids are trying to sell products that are like 10, 15 bucks, and then it costs them $7 to get it. They can only spend $7 to get a customer. So it's impossible to really scale. You know this because you run ads, but you're now having a margin on ads of like thousands of dollars. So you can really spend a lot to acquire a customer.
Yeah. What's the margin you're looking for typically? Like if I have a drop shipping store, is it like, are we shooting for 10%, 15%? Like what are we shooting for?
I mean, 20% is a good number to go for. When you're at a lower scale, you want it to be higher than that. But 20% at scale is a very sustainable number. 20% of $1 million, you making 200 grand in profit a month. It's something that is always mentioned about dropshipping, that the profits are low, but it's also one of the most scalable revenue-wise businesses that you could run.
Right. Like when I look at a lot of ad agencies, and this will be good for the listeners, is those are actually the businesses they want to scale because they're more predictable. Coaching, courses, stuff like that, much less predictable because usually there's more human element and sometimes the value is not as clear versus a product. It's, this is the product. Do you want it or not? And I feel it's a little bit more clear.
E-com's tough though. It changed my life and it was the first real business success that I had, but it's not for everybody. I think it's more important for people to find their strengths. Some people are better off as coaches. Some people are better off as creators. Some people are better off not even starting a business and actually going to like work with somebody who's building a business and help them grow. So the reason why e-com made sense for me is because I had these 6 years before where I was editing videos. So I knew how to make an ad. I knew how to try to make an ad. I knew how to make websites. I had the foundation there. I wasn't learning from complete ground zero. I knew my way around this whole thing. I just needed to figure out how to actually do it. So it made sense for me. It doesn't make sense for everybody.
How did you learn? Were you Googling stuff? Did you take a course? Did you hire a mentor? How did you even get off the ground? Or did you just piecemeal it together?
Yeah, so the way that I learned and the way that I was able to become successful with e-com was just spamming YouTube videos. So I was literally just all day absorbing any piece of knowledge that I could get about this industry. And then what really took me to the next level was just focusing on following one person. I just found one kid who was getting a little bit of results. He was making like $500 a day, which for me at that time was insane. I couldn't believe that a kid my age was making $500 a day from the internet. And I watched every single one of his videos. I joined his Facebook group. I was trying to spam him and message him every single day. I just found one person that was doing it, and I copied their whole entire blueprint. And I think that that's important, because if you're watching 10 different guys, you're watching 10 different strategies. So I was spamming YouTube until I found somebody that I really connected with, and I just studied the crap out of him. And I saw his results were legit too. So it ended up working out with his strategy, and that got me to point A. And then to get to the next level, I had to repeat the process with somebody at a higher scale.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Something that I've hired a lot of coaches over the years, but something that I always do is I do one at a time, and then I try to do exactly what they say until there comes a point where I'm like convinced it won't work, or I'm convinced like I've done everything I can do. When you're getting all those different pieces of advice, I think that keeps people stuck and actually keeps them confused, because they get paralysis by analysis. They can't really figure out who's telling them the right thing to do.
Facts.
You build this e-com store, you go to LA, you start being stupid, which in your defense, you're a young kid. That's probably crazy money. I mean, I can't imagine, man, to be honest, at 18. What do you start doing from there?
Once my money started to run dry and the e-commerce business that I started was basically back to zero, I decided to start another business. I had been doing YouTube in this time because I was kind of filming the process of me building the e-commerce store, and people were reaching out. I became that kid that was helping me when I was starting. I wanted to give that feeling to other people and be that person for other people. And that's what got me started doing YouTube. So at this time, living in LA, maybe I had like 10,000 subscribers, 15,000 subscribers. So I wanted to create something for them. So I was doing some coaching. I had a course, but it wasn't really making serious money. So I wanted to make something bigger, and I decided to create a software, like a product research software. And I didn't realize how expensive this project was going to be. I started it with just some rinky-dink thing that I set up myself on ClickFunnels. And then I decided to take the little bit of money we made and actually build a real app. And that ended up being like financial suicide, because my business partner at the time did me dirty, took the money we had and ran off. And now I had this big contract and this big bill to build this software, and I had to do it with the last dollars that I had. My credit cards, I had to max them out. My cash, I had to go to zero. I literally had $1 in my bank account at one point in time, living in a high rise in LA, by the way. And I built this app, and I launched it in October 2018. And the launch day was also not a success. And I spent basically my last dollars to build something that completely flopped. And basically I had to fold and move back to my mom's house in Florida.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
So you weren't just successful day one. I think that's important for people to hear, is like you have these ups and these downs. So talk about the next steps. So you're back at home, you're in Florida.
Yeah.
You've lost it all, you gained it, you lost it all. What did you do next?
Well, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it grounded me and brought me back to reality. I was not living good in LA. I was smoking weed every day, and I was in a negative state of mind, and I was super out of shape again. And when I went back home, I cut out the weed, and I just looked at myself and I said, yo, you need to do something. And instead of trying to start some extravagant business or do something crazy, I just started doing e-com again, because I knew that, and I knew that it worked before. So it was like kind of full circle, because I was back in the same room and the same place that I started this whole thing at. And this time I had all the knowledge and the game that I had learned over the years of living in LA. And I was sober, and I was just ready to do it. So I had a couple of bucks left over, and I just put everything that I had back into this e-commerce business. And even at that time, people thought that I was still successful, and my Instagram looked like I was still making it. But I was literally hustling, doing video edits for people for like $30 an edit under like a fake name on Fiverr, just like to keep getting money in for my ads. Like I was that down bad, but I was determined to make it work anyways,
So how did you get back on top? Because I know over the last couple of years, I think you sold a company. Your YouTube's at 1.6 million subscribers. Like you're killing it now. So talk how you got back to the top.
Yeah, the turnaround was crazy, because basically once I stopped smoking, once I started another e-commerce business, in 20 days after starting that business, I got it to over $10,000 in profit. Like I was stuck trying to figure out how to make money. And then once I cut out all the expenses and all this like mess of a life in LA and just got back to the basics, I ran up $10,000 in cash in 20 days. And what I did was I started documenting this process on YouTube because I was like, man, the people got to see this. Like I'm going to show the people my rise from this position to the next level. So I put a video out saying 0 to 10K in 20 days. That was the first video that got my channel back on the road. I took that little bit of money and I moved to Miami just because I wanted to not be in my mom's house anymore. And I just got to work, bro. The next month we did like 40K in revenue. The month after that, we did almost 100K in revenue. And every single week I was posting videos, updating the people about this business I was building. And it started this wave of new subscribers. I was stuck at like 10K subs, 20K subs for a long time. And once I just started authentically documenting my journey of building this business from scratch, everything took off because at the time nobody was really doing that and people really were connecting to my pain and my story.
So you're obviously way more skilled in YouTube now. Do you think that same strategy will work now? Do you think it was part of it just that you were early on it, or do you think like looking back now, were you like documenting in a way that was really good and sound strategically?
I think that this strategy is more effective now than ever before, especially if you're somebody that's at a smaller level in business, because you don't have the wisdom to put on other people. You're still the beginner. So why are you going to come and start talking game and giving advice? I'd rather watch you build this thing from scratch and hear you speak from your own experience. I don't want to hear you talk about theory or concepts. I want to see you building this thing from scratch. So yeah, I think for most people, it's a better way to do it because if you're running a business day to day, if you're building something from scratch, that's what you're doing. So if you're sharing that with the world, that's about as authentic as you could be. So I think for a lot of people, they should do this, even if you're not successful. Like I see channels all the time that are like, day 25 of trying to become a millionaire. And it's like a kid that's like dead broke living in his mom's house, but he's getting like thousands and thousands of views because people can relate to that. You know, it's real. Whereas if he's like 10 lessons for anyone who wants to become a millionaire and he's got like $26 in his account, it's like, what? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
That's one of my regrets is there was a point where I was living in my parents' house 16 hours a day, 300 square foot bedroom. I have some videos, but I honestly wish I just put a camera there and just let it roll all day and just upload it to Google Drive because it was like, it sounds fast. Like you're like, oh, 2 years. But when you're like living that way 16 hours a day for 2 years, I mean, that could have been a sick video. I mean, it could have been a sick edit, something.
Yeah, but in that moment, you don't think like, damn, this shit's sick. Yeah, let me show.
It's terrible. You know, I didn't even think to show anyone. And I at the time, I still really wasn't on social media that much other than if I thought it could make me money. That was really how I started. So I know you obviously you're really good at e-com. I think recently, and I'm
all right at e-com.
You made some money.
Yeah, but when you really look at the big picture, you know, like I did a couple million in sales. Like I sold a brand, but you know, this is something that I only did for a couple years. You got guys out here cracking $1 million a month, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't want to come on here and say I'm the best e-com guy, but I did do well with that business model, you know?
So I think your next business after that, it was some tech solution, correct? So talk a little bit about that one.
So it was actually the same app that I told you that put me in debt.
No way.
Yeah. So once my YouTube channel started to go up again, this company actually started to work because now I had leads and now I had customers. So this business that put me in debt, I ended up making over $5 million from. And then I actually just recently sold it a couple months ago. So this business is the one that changed my life financially in two different ways. Yeah. It ruined me and then it made me.
That's full circle. That's crazy. What did the technology do, or what did the app do?
So it was a product research software for e-commerce store owners. So we would help you find products. And then there was also like coaching and training and a community. So it was like, I used to pitch it as the all-in-one toolkit for anyone to get started for their online store. And it's still available now. It's not like the company bought it and shut it down. Like you guys can still go check it out. It's called Viral Vault. I just don't own it anymore, but yeah.
How was that selling a company?
A bit crazy because for a while, you know, I wasn't sure if I was able to sell it because the brand was so connected to me as a person. Like the coaching was from me and the courses was from me and my face was all over the landing page. So it was very much connected to me. So I was worried that the deal was even going to happen, but I was doing the outreach to companies that I was interested in selling to. And I did find a partner that made sense. And after like 6 months of negotiating, we came to some agreement. and we signed the deal. Yeah.
I don't know what particulars you can or not get into, but was part of the deal you have to stay involved, or were you out clear? I don't know if you can get into that or not.
Yeah, there's certain things that I can't discuss, but I still have to stay involved in the project in some capacity.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is there like a time frame on it, or is it just indefinitely right now?
No, there's a time frame on it, but I'm actually happy to still be relatively involved with the project, because you gotta think this is like one of my children, you know, and my face is all over it as well. So I am happy to be somewhat involved in it, especially because it's so connected to me.
You're still relatively young. I mean, I didn't really start making serious money till 27 really. Maybe 25 is really when I'll take that back. 25.
Yeah, 26 don't really. It's starting to feel like I'm reaching like unk status or something. Like I'm like rounding the corner of getting older. Like I hang out with so many kids that's like 18, 19, 20, 21, making like M a month. Like, not that I compare myself to them and stuff, but like 26 is definitely still young. But in the internet money space, it doesn't feel that way.
It's changed for sure. I mean, I don't even really remember social media getting big till I was already basically out of high school, maybe a little bit into college. So like my early 20s, I'm 32 now. But it's crazy now to see kids, starting at 14, 16, because that just wasn't a thing when I was that age. So I guess I'm curious, what are your plans for the future, right? You've made some good money in e-com. You just sold a company. Obviously, we're going to get into YouTube in just a second. You have a massive traffic source. You can kind of go wherever you want, it looks like to me. Do you know like what's next for you, or what do you plan on doing?
I really enjoy making YouTube videos. It's like my favorite thing to do. And the YouTube videos that I make get to make an impact on the world by inspiring kids to know that they can start their own business and giving them the tools to do it. Like I said earlier, I've become that person that I wish existed when I was first trying to figure out this whole game of business. So that's my real passion. That's my real love in the world. And I want to keep doing that for as long as possible and try to keep making it better and cooler and more creative every single time. On a business front, I just started a new business helping entrepreneurs like grow their YouTube channels. I actually work with you and a couple other big guys, and that's something that I also really enjoy. I know that coaching is not one of those things that you can do forever, ever, but it is one of the best businesses in terms of making cash. And again, it goes in line with what I love. I love making videos. So if I can work with other creators and help them make better videos, then I'm aligned. And also I can make a bigger impact, because let's say I help you blow your channel up. Well, guess what? Now we're touching, hundreds of thousands of more people indirectly. So that's a business that I'm super excited about. But yeah, other than that, I have a lot of opportunities now. I think from having the channel so big, people throw partnership deals and they throw opportunities at me all the time. And I took like a month, 2 months kind of to look back and kind of like pause. And I'm almost still kind of in that phase of like, okay, what's the next big business that you're going to build? The coaching thing is crazy. We've been making crazy money, but I understand that business, and I understand how that's not necessarily the best long-term business. What are you going to do? Sign 700 clients,
Right.
And I just like, I'm going to have no life.
The one thing I've always loved about coaching consulting is just high cash flow.
It's crazy.
High cash flow, lots of profit. You can take that, reallocate it to other businesses.
Yeah.
Something for the audience, I think that I've learned already because I just started working with you, but there's a difference between, at least in my opinion, there's a massive difference between hiring someone whose main business is teaching, right? And that's coming from something like, that's something I do. And then someone who's done the thing. So for example, not that it's bad, but if someone's main business is teaching YouTube from the get-go, it has never seemed to be as effective as someone who's actually done the thing. And like, I can tell when I talk to you, you've actually grown YouTube. Like, you understand at a very high level, versus maybe someone who has a 20,000 sub channel, or they don't even have a big channel, right? They're, oh, I just help other people do it. And you can just tell there's just a difference in experience and like technicality and just the way things are phrased. So I think for anyone who's trying to get to the next level, like especially in social media, my advice would be, if I could go back, is find someone who doesn't even teach it, reach out to them and convince them to do it. Because originally, I think we just kind of hit at a perfect time, but I reached out to you thinking, he doesn't do this, I'm going to fucking convince him anyways.
Yeah,
like,
you were literally like our second or like third person that we worked with, and it was right when I was just getting ready to launch it, so it was meant to happen,
Yeah. Something I find interesting about you, a lot of the successful guys I know, very aggressive personalities, right? Type A, get out of my way, fuck all that. You are probably one of the most laid back, like very like gracious, no egotistical type person. Like I don't even think some people, if they don't know who you are, they wouldn't even assume you're doing big stuff because you're just so like laid back and you're not trying to like make a scene. So where does that like personality come from? Because I would say on average, like it's more abnormal for someone to be as laid back as you are and be as successful as you've been.
Yeah, well, I just don't think in my head that like I've done something like so crazy that deserves me to have some big time ego. And I just wasn't raised that way. I was raised to respect people and be kind. And also, I sometimes wish that I was maybe a bit more aggressive, like not aggressive in a mean way, but just kind of like, I'm going to go get it by any means necessary. Like sometimes I'm like that. Other times I'm like, whatever. Like it is what it is. Like I'm going to try my best and whatever happens, happens. Whereas some people is like, I'm going to fucking kick the door down and I'm going to get it by any means necessary. Like I wish I had more of that because I think I would be even more successful than I am. But yeah, I don't carry around like this God complex or anything like that because I don't feel like I did something crazy. I'm proud of what I've done, but I don't think I'm like better than anybody.
No, I think to your credit though, I don't know what the stats are, but I think it was something like a single digit number of people have 100,000 subs on YouTube. And then it's like even a fraction of that of who have 1 million subs. So I guess I look at that and to me, you accomplishing that is very hard to do. That's how I view it. And, I don't know, the way you interact and so forth, I think you seem like you really know where you're going, but you're very laid back about it. And that's very interesting for me to see because I'm usually just with guys who are just like very crazy or very aggressive and sometimes like they're way out there. But I think it's a good thing. Like I look at it as like a positive thing, very interesting because sometimes I'm like, man, maybe I need to relax or, like pull back a little bit.
Now everybody got their thing, and it's just about accepting who you are and just leaning into that. And I think that's what I'm trying to do now, like, cause I think it is who I am and I think it is a strength of mine. But we can always get better. And like I said, sometimes I'd be like too laid back. Like sometimes I just need to like go harder and like, cause I could be lazy sometimes too,
So you've obviously have a big YouTube. What I wanted to do next is transition into a little bit of, game on YouTube. So for the audience, what are some of the most important parts? Actually, let's back up even before that. Like what are some of the secrets that you've learned on YouTube that have made you successful? Like if you were talking to someone had 10 minutes and like, what are the key things? Like what are some of those things?
The first thing is that you need to treat YouTube like anything else and give yourself a long enough time to accept it to work. Like everybody thinks that they're just waiting for like that one like viral moment or like they're just gonna hit one video and it's gonna pop off. But for you to become successful on YouTube, you have to actually learn how to make great videos, and that takes time. When it comes to learning how to make a great video, I would just go and find a creator that you really like because we're all watching videos. We all watch content. I would really find the people that you like and try to look at it from like a bird's eye view and try to understand why is this video successful? What did he do right or she do right about the title, the thumbnail, the hook, the story? You need to try to dissect other successful videos and it will give you a clear picture on what to do for your videos. For the first videos that you make on your channel, I don't think you should try to make something completely brand new. I think you should try to find the stuff that you like, but recreate it in your way because naturally it's not going to come off as a copy or anything like that because you have your own voice, you have your own style, you have your own story. It's guaranteed to look different. But if we can look at what's already working and apply our own thing to it, it's good. Now, more tactically for the business guys, I think it's really important that you're as authentic as you can be and don't try to be a guru or an educator if you don't got it like that. Just show me what you're doing now and document the journey of what you're doing now. And it's going to be much better off this way. That's how I got my first 250,000 subscribers, was just documenting my journey of what I was doing. I wasn't even a millionaire, but yeah, I was out doing all these other millionaire YouTubers and stuff because I was just showing them what it's like to actually build a business and sharing wisdom that I was learning from doing the thing.
Do you think being younger has any like benefit? So meaning, is it easier to grow someone's channel, let's say if he's like 18 and he does X accolade versus someone who's like 25? Like, is there any benefit to that? Just like something fun for people to know.
Depends on the industry, right? Like if a dude was trying to blow up in the gaming industry and he was like 40, I'd probably say like it's over with, you know? But if somebody's doing business content, like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like in fact, most serious business people is rounding the corner of 30 and 40. So they watch YouTube as well, and they're not going to listen to an 18-year-old. They're going to want to listen to somebody that knows their stuff. And that's why somebody like Grant Cardone can be so successful, or Kiyosaki, or Alex Hormozi, or we can just keep naming them. So I don't think the age thing really matters in the business space. But yeah, in some industries, like it's better to be a kid. Yeah.
Something I think is important for people to know is I think it usually takes a lot longer than they think it's going to take.
Yeah.
So maybe to give some context, let's say someone brand new to YouTube and they have a goal to hit 100,000 subscribers. What would you say is the bare minimum they should expect of how many years it could take to get there? Like you take all the people in the world, you kind of average it up. Like what's an average number of times so someone has a realistic expectation of maybe how hard it is to get there?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I can tell you myself. So I started doing YouTube videos, you know, when I was like 12 years old. And then I didn't get 100,000 subs until I was like 22 years old. But that's not to say that it takes 10 years. What happened was over the 9-year window, I was just making random shit. I wasn't taking YouTube seriously. I wasn't actually trying to get better. I was just like posting videos and praying that one would pop off. But in that last year, I got fed up with that because I felt so stuck on my channel, and I tried to really understand the game of YouTube. I started studying other people's videos. I went to YouTube conferences. I started trying to be around and talking with other YouTubers. And in that year, I went from 20K, which took me 4 years to get, to 100K, 100 plus thousand. And it was like this 5x jump in 1 year because I started taking it seriously. So what I would say is that you could do it in a year, 100%, if you actually take it seriously and you stay consistent and you try to understand the game of YouTube.
So if someone's trying to learn, and I know you talked about it earlier, find someone who's similar, dissect their video. Is there any other books or courses or things that people can look at or watch that you think were really beneficial in your journey, or you wish you had maybe found sooner?
One thing that helped me is learning about storytelling, because YouTube is really all about storytelling. You know, the goal of a video is to take somebody on a journey, and the goal of the video is to tell them something that's going to either entertain them or educate them. And the best way we could do that is with a story. So I started learning a lot more about storytelling. Like I read this book called Save the Cat, and it talks about the hero's journey. The hero's journey is such an important concept to understand as a YouTuber. But these things help me craft and tell better stories as a creator. And the other thing that really helped me was finding a friend that was a successful YouTuber. So I had this one guy, he had like 200,000 subs when I had maybe 100,000. And at the time, he has double my success. So I'm taking everything he has to say. And just from talking to him and having him review every single one of my videos, I got better. And then at 200K subs, I found somebody with 400K subs. And then boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, in my phone, not to name drop, but I have like the biggest YouTubers in the world. And if I want feedback on a video, I can get it from somebody with 10 million subscribers. And that really helps, you know.
Let's go into that next, because that's what I wanted to ask you. A lot of people talk about networking, right? So they're like, I'm going to go to this event, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. In your opinion, because you are friends with some massive YouTubers, business owners, etc., what helped you be able to meet them? Like, what was the key things in your mind that like opened the door for you to even be able to meet these people?
Yeah, I got a lot of successful friends, and the way that I was able to get to know these people is becoming somebody that they would want to be around. I think. I can't speak for them, but I think that's what it is. Because you have people, right, probably DMing you every day saying, yo, Tanner, let's go get a coffee, bro. Let me pick your brain. But these people have nothing to show for it. They don't have a personal brand. They don't have business success. So you're never going to take that time. You almost want people to like find out about you before you reach out to them, because then by that time it's already validated. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know why I have this crazy network of people. It's absolutely insane. I just think it's because like I just keep building my thing, and people see that and it gets attention, and then I don't really do nobody wrong, and I know that the word spreads quickly if you do somebody wrong, and I don't have that track record either. So yeah, I don't know. I just met a bunch of people.
I think to your point, someone I'm a good friends with is Alex Hermosian. I probably get asked, I don't know how many times people are like, how did you meet him? Or I get asked to connect people to him a lot. Like even today I had 3 more people and I'm like, bro, do you want to talk to them? And when I tell the story, the way we met originally is he reached out to me and I ignored him because I thought he wanted to sell me some shit. And I was like, bro, like I don't want to buy your stuff.
This is like pre-blow up.
Yeah. This is during gym launch, but this is before his YouTube took off, right? And so then finally we get put in a group chat and like he texts me privately and I was like, all right, like I didn't want it to be weird. So I got on a call and he just wanted to be friends. And when I look back at that and people go, you know, why do you think he reached out to you? I was like, I just was doing big shit and he wanted to meet me because he was like, I think that's what it is 100% because to me, if I wanted to meet higher level YouTubers, in my opinion, I think I got to build a big YouTube first. I got to be someone where they like respect because it's hard in my opinion, I just think people respect others that have gone through that same journey. And it's not like they look down on people, but when you meet someone who's built a big business or you meet someone who has a great body, you kind of have that like mutual respect of like that motherfucker gets it. And that's what I think. So I think for you, or maybe for people listening, they think it's going to these events and like DMing people and all this shit. I'm like, no, like you need to like build yourself into someone they want to be friends with. And then that will happen. Like, I think networking comes from becoming someone people actually want to meet versus, you know, sending a card or sending a DM or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be scary, you know, for a beginner because they feel like, well, I have nothing to provide. But sometimes you can look at somebody's situation too and think, what is something that they're missing that I could help them with? Like even for you, you know, you're so successful with creating offers. You could look at a lot of these big creators that are making shit money from their channel and say, yo, look, like for free, I'm gonna create this game plan for you on how you can grow your channel with this info product just for free, bro. Here you go, like check it out. And suddenly this person feels like, hey, like, thank you so much. I'm now going to give you everything I know about YouTube. So it's like this mutual exchange thing has also been super helpful for me because I always like give my knowledge away to people. Sure. And then if I ever need something or ask for something from my friends, like they always like quick to do it, you know?
I think to that point, like if you have something of equal value, but if you don't, I just think become someone they want to know. Become someone they want to know because at the end of the day, I think everyone, whether they say it or not, like there needs to be a fair value exchange. And if it's 100-0, that's not a fair value exchange for most people.
Now you got to become that guy. That's real. That's the real answer.
Yeah. Something I've seen, I wanted your take on, I think I asked you this off camera, but I want people to hear it, is every YouTuber I've seen, like every single one, it seems like that has a big engaged audience, has massive social media presence like TikTok, IG, like they'll beat anyone who has a big IG or TikTok, but they don't have a YouTube. I almost feel they never will beat in terms of engagement and numbers, big YouTubers. Yeah. And so what I'm basically getting at is, and I know what my opinion is, but if someone could only start on one social media platform, what do you think it should be? And I know what you're probably going to say. And then why is it that way? Like what is it about YouTube that is just like, seems to make everything else work?
YouTube is the only place where you could build a real relationship with the audience. YouTube is where people get to spend a lot of time with you. Think about an Instagram story. You swipe through the story, you probably watched 30 stories today or more. You don't remember a single one. Whereas on YouTube, you're going to sit and watch a 15-minute video of somebody. You're going to get to see their personality, see who they are, make a connection to them. It's the only platform where you can spend a lot of time with somebody. So YouTube is really the best because that's how you build real fans. I know a lot of my friends that are super famous from doing reels and TikToks and short form stuff, but they don't have a real community because people don't get to spend a lot of time with them. So you might have people that recognize you, kind of like how you might recognize the billboard, but you can't remember the phone number on the billboard. It's the same thing. So YouTube for me is the obvious choice. And also YouTube is the only platform that I've seen where if you blow up there, all your other socials get rewarded as well.
Yeah, because today before you got on camera, me and my video manager were talking about Instagram and, you know, I'm like, bro, like, look at Jordan's Instagram. He didn't even take this shit seriously. Look how much his engagement is. And that I think is a testament to how important it is to build YouTube. Yeah. And I think some people, they kind of wait too late because it's a little bit harder. It takes more time. But I do think that I would agree. I think if I could go back in time, I would have started much sooner. I would have taken it a lot more seriously.
But I would just add one thing, and is that if you want to grow viewers and leads and eyeballs to your brand, long form YouTube videos is not the best way to do it, because it's going to be the hardest. It's going to take the most time. It's going to be the thing that is the most difficult. Whereas doing the short form stuff is less effort. And when it hits crazy. Getting a multi-million view reel is a million times easier than getting a multi-million view long form video. But 3 million views on a video, especially if you have an offer in there, versus 3 million views on a reel is like, night and day.
Night and day difference.
Yeah.
What are some non-negotiables in your life that you feel have made you successful, if you have any? Like, are there things, I have to do this and I definitely will not do these things?
Yeah, non-negotiables is that I try my best to stay, fit. I'm training almost every day, doing calisthenics and trying to eat right. Non-negotiable is like, keep your principles and don't do anybody wrong. Like, if you're gonna do a business, really try to take care of your customers and don't build a bad reputation just for a bag. Non-negotiable is like, always make time for your family. Even sometimes putting your friends to the side and like making sure your family comes first. Non-negotiables. Yeah, I have many, but those would be the three that I think of. And then on the negative side, I mean, I don't know. I just focus on those things if I'm talking about non-negotiables, yeah.
Who are some of your mentors or people you usually are asking advice from or try to learn from?
Everybody. Because I'm blessed with this circle of friends where almost everybody's richer than me. So I just get to hang out with my friends and naturally these conversations arise and I get to learn from them. But there have been many people that have an impact on me, so much so that I could talk about it for 30 minutes, But my very first mentor when I was broke was a man named Corey. We're still friends to this day. And I was actually 16 years old. I had no money. And I went to a book signing for this guy, Damon John from Shark Tank. And Corey was there waiting in line to get his book signed. But everybody in this place was all kind of dressed regular, like how I'm dressed, like streetwear or whatever. This was like the only guy in there dressed in a suit. And he was probably about your age, like 30 something. And I just said, whatever, like I was with my friend. I was like, I just want to go introduce myself to this guy. He looks successful. And I shook his hand. We talked for a while. I didn't know it at the time, but this guy was running a aluminum company in my hometown, making multi-millions of dollars a year. And he became my first mentor. He was really the first successful entrepreneur to ever believe in me and really give me some games to how to make this stuff work. And the only reason why he actually helped me out is because I took the leap to go up to him and introduce myself. And he saw that I was actually real serious about this. So that was my first mentor. And that guy is still somebody that I respect to this day. He ended up selling that company for over 10 million.
Something I've noticed getting to know you and just listening to is you seem very grounded. And I think, you said earlier you didn't really grow up with your father figure around very much. Like, why do you feel you're so grounded? Like, I feel it's a positive thing, but it's abnormal where like maybe someone else, if they don't have that around, like they don't end up in such a good place. And you seem like you've done pretty good for yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about grounded because, like I have a supercar and a bunch of watches and like, I fly first class and we fly private in the summer and we stay at the most expensive freaking villas and hotels and stuff. So I don't know if I'm like the most like grounded, like minimalist guy, but yeah, I don't know.
I guess like what I meant is you seem like you really value family and you seem, I mean, you don't have to be paying for your mom's house. You don't have to be getting your sister a car. Like I respect that a lot because I think like as the man, like that's one of the things to take pride in is like take care of your family. But I feel like you could have more excuses than the average person not to. And
I think what happened was when I blew the bag and I spent all my money the first time I made it, it really showed me what's actually important. Because when I went completely broke, guess who was there waiting for me with open arms? My mom, my sister, my brother, my friends. So I learned from that experience what actually matters. And even though now I still splash and spend money on material stuff, I focus first on taking care of my people, because at the end of the day, you could take away everything I have and those people is worth more than it all combined times a million. So for me, it's that. I understand where my priorities is at, because I've felt like I've seen so much of the world that like I don't need any more of that. I focus on this.
Is there any question I should have asked you that I didn't that would help the audience?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't. Yeah. You threw me for a loop with that one.
No, that's a fair answer. I sometimes it's like, what's the question I'm not asking that someone could hear that would really help them? Jordan, thanks for coming on, man. You're an absolute gangster. Like, I'm super proud of you. Like, especially at your age, I think what you've accomplished is amazing. I think sometimes you are more gracious than you need to be, but I definitely like look up to you in terms of like what you've done with YouTube and like what you've done with your family. And I think those are very admirable. So, bro, keep crushing. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Respect to you too.
Appreciate you, bro.